There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Nan Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
What would Rod Serling say?
What would Rod say? He'd say, "Oh my."
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Fifth Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast. I am your host, Nick. We're back for another episode of the Twilight Zone. 3 episodes from the end, and we just don't like it, sir. Right, Jake? Right, Jake?
Tits.
No. No, that's at the end of the video. No.
Hey, you know what? If we can't talk about that at this point in the run, I'm not sure when we can.
Yeah,
well,
I'm leaving this episode. I'm leaving this episode if we don't do this.
hey, we gave you the chance to do next week, which would probably been even worse. The closer we get to the end, the worse it gets.
Oh, come on.
I probably like this episode more than I probably would like the one from next week. Mostly because it was more high. I was high.
Fear.
Oh,
or
no.
the bewitching pool.
Were all the episodes from here on out bad? Oh, I thought I turned that off. Oops.
I don't remember Come Wander With Me at all, but I know the fear is supposed to be pretty bad, and I know the witching pool is Triv's goat of all time. It's her goatee.
I mean, it's the last episode of the series. It does like really awful ADR.
I'm gonna watch this thing. I've heard about it.
You should just watch it now, and we'll come back.
Well,
later.
no. Don't watch it until you get to the point. That way you have like everything else laid out for, you can say, okay, that is overrated or underrated, or holy shit, that sucked, or hey, that was actually pretty good, or whatever you choose to believe at that point in time. That way you've got the full.
I might say.
I mean,
dear God.
Good Lord.
Oh.
What have we done? What have you done, Triv?
I just brought up the fact that I saw a Sonic with tits tattoo after seeing the 3D printed Sonic
tits.
This is a family show.
Just don't read about Sonic.
No, it's not.
That's all I'm gonna say. Let's not talk about Sonic.
Rule 34
Someone
is a
lied to
thing.
you.
Just remember that.
I said that once during one of Triv's live streams I was on. She said, "Who the hell told you that?"
You've been lied to, sir.
Just don't read about. Just don't read about Chris Chan. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh God, yeah, that's a bad move across the board.
Yeah,
I'm glad. I'm glad. Like I'm the last person to ever learn about this guy. So.
Oh God.
God.
Chris Chan.
I learned about him during the pandemic. That was fun.
Well, apparently that the medal or the medallion that they wore apparently like brings bad luck to anybody that wears it, because there've been a lot of other creators, like bigger creators, that have like been gifted it or bought one, and they just got into massive scandals.
No. What brought bad luck was fucking his mother.
Also true.
That's what brought him.
No. I mean other people that happened to come into contact with the medallion. Yeah.
They came into contact with it.
No, well, not him, but the anyway.
Well, you know what didn't come into contact with bad luck?
What's that?
The brain center at Whipple's.
Yeah.
Whipple.
Anyways, we're gonna talk about Rod Serling's famous TV series. We're getting close to the end. It's getting loopy. What can I say? I think this is your last official podcast episode for this series.
This is it. This is gonna be it.
Yeah. Until you come back for whatever we do next. I don't know. We may take a year off before we come back. I've edited more hours of podcasts than I ever want to think about ever again until the next one. So
sad thing is, people, we really don't. We're 2 episodes away from the end, and we still don't really know what we're doing after this.
Well, we know what we need to figure that out as a brain center, specifically at a place called Whipple's.
The day
exactly.
Before.
No, we'll probably have Kurt on for the wrap-up episode, but we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I plan on it. I don't really have anything going on, so yeah, we can do that.
I may end up having something special before even the season finale or the series finale, so we'll look forward to that as well to see if I can put it together in time.
Oh God.
Okay, so everyone else doing good?
Real.
Everyone else doing fine? Everyone else skiing?
I've only doing one skeet.
Oh, man.
Inflation's bad enough. You can only do one skeet.
Right.
That's for sure.
Skeets, both skeets cost $1,500. So, hey, we might get that $5,000 check. So you never know.
No, that's a load of horse
higher
shit
inflation.
too.
I'll buy a turntable with mine if we ever get it.
I'm gonna buy 5,000 cups of coffee.
I'm gonna buy a stick of chocolate, the world's most expensive piece of chocolate.
Candy bar.
I'll buy my weight in fudge.
You know what? I'm gonna have Jake make me a really fancy steak and pay him $5,000.
I'm gonna buy 1,000 chicken vaginas.
Cool that. What?
Sausage biscuit. 6,000 chicken vaginas, please. 6,000 chicken vaginas.
What the?
It's a Family Guy bit. It's
I
a
was
Family
gonna
Guy
say
bit.
I don't think chickens have vaginas, do they?
Peter goes to a drive. Peter goes through a drive-through and orders fajitas, but he just pronounces the J, so he pronounces it vaginas.
That's right. That's where I've heard that.
Were they bedazzled vaginas?
Maybe.
No.
I knew someone. I knew somebody.
Oh God.
That's where you get Taco Bell.
I knew somebody.
No, that's when you get Del Taco. That's when you get Del Taco.
Oh God.
Hey, I like Del Taco. No, which one? Polo Loco is the one. El Pollo Loco is what I like.
El Pollo, are you a Loco?
Breaking Bad?
El Pollo Loco was
no, they're pretty good for fast food restaurants.
I wanted to try Taco Bueno when I was out in Oklahoma, but I didn't get a chance to. There was one down the way from the hotel I was staying at.
I'm hungry, you sons of bitches. No, I'm kidding. So
Taco Bell.
Toxic hell.
So today we're talking about Triv's favorite episode, season 5, episode 33, called "The Brain Center at Whipple's," directed by Richard Donner, written by Rod Serling. Stars Richard Deacon, Paul Newlan, Ted DeCorsia. There's so many weird names in this episode. Thalmus, Rasulala.
Yeah, the dude from Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, he was on Next Gen. I can't remember what episode he was on, but he was on Next Gen.
I feel bad that I can't pronounce his name. It's like Rush. He was born Jack Crowder. How about that?
He changed his name because it was too flashy.
Yeah, apparently. Was in Blackula and Willie Dynamite. Played Gordon Thomas in Blackula.
Love Blackula. Great movie.
Blackula's awesome.
Yes.
He plays Skeeter Matthews in Sanford and Son.
Nice.
Just the fact he's called Skeet. Okay, so
was his actual name Skeet, whatever the last name was?
Yeah, Skeet Crowder.
Skeet Crowder sounds like a name of a 1970s baseball player.
He does.
Right.
Played for the Oakland Athletics. Charlie O'Finley gave him like a nickname, Skeet.
Skeet,
Mother
Crowder.
So this is production code 2632, air date May 15th, 1964. Brain Center at Whipple's. Triv, I know you say you actually enjoy this episode. I quite enjoy this episode too, even though I think the ending with Robby the Robot is quite hilarious. The way he's like swirling the chain, then he picks up the phone and puts it to his chest. I don't know, it's pretty funny. I don't think it's meant to be funny, but
yeah, I think they did that. I think they did that in Gremlins when they had Robby the Robot make the cameo in Gremlins behind Hoyt Axton. You see him on the payphone, and he's to his chest.
You know the best joke in that movie? You know what one of the best jokes? The
time machine joke?
Yes, the time machine.
No, I was going to say the fact that the chick's dad was up the chimney.
Well, that too, or the that whole scene with Phoebe Cates is fucked up.
Let's have the fun of
it. I do love that time machine joke.
Right.
Cuts away. It's just the smoke and it's gone.
Right. But yeah, Brain Center Whipples. I enjoyed this movie. Or this TV show, the episode.
I think it's a good episode.
I hope you enjoy the Twilight Zone. You've been doing a whole podcast about it.
I've been doing it since 2021. Gosh. I think I would like something by now.
He likes us. He really likes us.
Okay, who wants to start? Who wants to start on this? What they like, what they dislike. Skeets. Sonic choose.
I like the messaging behind this episode, like about the warnings about automation.
Like certain companies and certain governments today. Wouldn't you say?
Well, it's universal the way that that most things Twilight Zone are universal. So
yeah,
I'm telling you, if
because
certain companies
this
had their way, this would be it.
Yeah, because this was like at the start of like when automation was starting to rear its head, and American manufacturing, and Americans are losing their jobs, and this guy just like is all he cares about is just the bottom line, is just how much money he's making. Oh, I don't it's not talk about the craftsmanship of the product. He just wants to put the product out, which is again something we never have seen since. Thank God, no company, no American company or company globally has ever done that ever.
Or is still doing that.
Or is still doing it and running fake government agencies. But yeah, he's just all he's concerned about the bottom line, and it's just amazing, like the transformation of this factory from like where there's just like employs a few thousand people. It's like a lifeblood of a community. I mean, I live in the Rust Belt. My area of Indiana was devastated when the globalization of manufacturing happened. So like steel mills shut down, or like there was a big Magnavox factory in Fort Wayne that made and the Odyssey, the Magnavox Odyssey. That's where they made Magnavox Odyssey, the video game system, and they made Ampeg amps, and they made all this stuff, and it just closed. And it's like all these people care about is how much it affects their bottom line. And this is where we turn into the Marxist part of the podcast, but yeah, he's just this horrible, horrible guy who's like just took over this company from his father, and it's like it talks about the foreman talks about how his father was like somebody who actually cared about his employees and cared about the craft and cared about making a good product. I don't care. The people are going to buy the product, whether people are going to buy the product whether it's good or not, and unfortunately they do.
That's the sad thing. Like that's even like I go back to today, like places I've worked at. It's the same thing. It's like you got to get that bottom line. Your stockholders are like, why aren't you making money? Look at Disney, man. They're like, oh, why aren't you making enough Star Wars? So that's why they put out Ahsoka and put out whatever nonsense Marvel, Captain America, Brave New nonsense. Yeah.
Hey, Andor season 2 trailer dropped today.
I know, looks good. I gotta admit.
I know. I know.
Well, I'll say this. So there's a car dealer that I've worked with in the past, and like behind the scenes, if you were an employee of his philosophy was basically for the employees that everyone is replaceable, including me. And that's kind of the mentality of this episode. I mean,
that's why I keep saying about this podcast. I'm always replaceable.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Replacement.
That's freaking stupid, man.
This has been a long con. I'm taking over the podcast now. I'm the captain now.
I've become friendly with Kurt, friendly enough to make him now co-host or the host of the podcast. So,
all right. Well, it's been nice. You guys have a good one.
Oh no, you're forever. Anyway, Shriv, go ahead.
Oh, that's kind of
like. No, I'm sorry. What were you saying,
no,
Jake?
What the? No, I mean, it's just that the fact that the guy in charge of this car dealership was like, everyone is replaceable, including me, and to have that mentality, when it's such a. I mean, to some extent, yes. If something happened to you, someone would have to take over your job. But to call it replaceable, I like that. Well, I mean, that is that there's two sides.
This is a tale of like working in Hollywood. This is a tale of working in.
That's a tale of working anywhere. I mean, if you don't have respect for the people that are underneath you, regardless of what it is, whether it's a mom and pop, even like the fact that it's a second generation business was really interesting because I've done a lot of work with them too. And second generation business owners are either the hardest working sons of bitches you ever saw in your life, or just lazy bastards. And there's middle ground bosses. There too. Well, yeah, but no, that's the thing.
Yeah. Verrill's character.
They either can take on the mantle of what came previous, understand and learn, and want to grow what their family stood for, or they're going to take it, shat on it, and shoot it out and over the ocean.
Yeah, and we see a lot of that with some of these, well, not so much anymore because most of these companies are like at one time, probably back in like when this episode aired, were mom and pop type of or second generation businesses are now owned by big conglomerates. But yeah, it's just he's, like you said, that auto dealer owner you talked about, everybody's replaceable. We found out that Mr. Whipple's replaceable at the end of the episode by Robby the robot.
I mean, who isn't
Yeah,
replaceable by Robby the robot?
that's true. But yeah, it's like, these like a lot of these like late stage capitalists don't seem to understand is that you're replaceable too. It's not just the employees that you can fire whatever employees you have, replace them with cheap labor or automation. But at the end of the day, your ass is also in the firing line.
I mean, look at Norman Osborn in Spider-Man. He was replaceable, and then he became the Green Goblin. Oh,
Return to formula.
exactly. Jake, you look like you have something to say. You look like you have a lot to say, actually. You're slowly like sitting back. I'm like, I'm worried about you. Is Jake falling asleep? Is Jake thinking about what thing has collapsed at his job?
He's getting comfy.
I was listening to my co-host's views.
I just listening to us talk. Something else collapsing at your work. You're just like
he was listening to us talk about the Communist Manifesto.
Well, I liked this episode. I had some issues with, not really issues. I had some thoughts on it for later on, but I did enjoy the episode. I thought it was poignant. I thought it had some things to say. It was pretty straightforward as to what it was saying. And it was especially back in I guess in the 60s, obviously too, but especially like realistically in the 70s and the 80s a lot, is when a lot of shit, my brain's mush. What are we calling it?
Economic downturn?
Automation.
Globalization.
Yeah. They were like replacing people with everybody. There was this big scare that they were going to replace them with robots. Now the big scares are going to replace us all with AI. And to a degree machines, but that's always, I think that's always been a very real fear, and that's where a lot of our sci-fi like Terminator and stuff like that comes from, is being replaced by something we've made and then it taking over. And from, as like, I don't know if my perspective is any better or different or what, if it seemed more meaningful, but as a business operator myself, and having been a business operator for longer than I'd like to admit, and having to worry about these kind of things like overhead and all that.
Right.
I've always I fully recognized in this episode how your overlords, the people in charge, the money men, it is a constant, like in a lot of businesses, especially the bigger the businesses get, a constant, how are you going to save money? How are you going to save money? And unfortunately, in every business, almost, I will say, my current is a bit different, but it's a bit different all around. But every business I've ever been, the first thing, in a roundabout way or just a direct way, the first thing that you cut, or they want you to cut, they push on you, they push down the line, is the people, labor. Labor. It is the number one easiest controllable across all businesses on Earth. Your controllables are, your bill, your electricity, your product, and all these things that you control. Labor's the easiest one because you can just say you're out of here. Go home early, or you're fired, or whatever. Cutting out labor is the easiest, well, in their mind, the easiest and quickest controllable, and that's the one that they always go to because they're short-sighted. And they're like, get rid of the people so we don't have to pay them.
Yep.
And either have something else that we've brought in, some machine. And I've been places where a machine has come in and cut out jobs. Maybe not to the degree of this episode where it's cutting out like 250,000 jobs or some shit like that. But
hell of a machine.
I have a great deal of my previous life career was in the food industry, in upper management, and other places, but mostly in management of some sort. And I've seen in kitchens come by, and not my job, but I've seen new machinery come in and like automate certain aspects or make certain things easier. And it eliminates jobs. It's like, oh, now you have this thing in here, so you instead of a grill, you have this broiler, and you just put things on there. So only one, what used to take 2 or 3 people will only take 1 now. And that's the same thing. I mean, we laugh about it, but that is exactly what's happening on this episode. And that is exactly one of the big fears people always had. What?
Oh yeah, capitalists never change.
Well,
Yeah,
that's an across the board thing though too. I mean, it doesn't. You're not going to have 10 people do a thing that 5 people are set out to do. That's the nature
yeah.
of any,
Well,
regardless across the board.
what
To the
they
capitalist point.
a lot of the and I do see both sides to a degree because okay, efficiency is it's a thing in business. You do have to worry about I think I've always like taken care of my people and stood up for them and tried to get, appreciate the people that work for me. And
Yeah.
I've always also demanded a lot from them, but I've always appreciated the people that work for me and that do a good job and tried to do everything I could for them. But at the same time, it is a business, and you want to get efficiency. This dude's always talking efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. I think he takes it to an extreme. I mean, you do want to
Just a
get
tiny
efficiency
bit.
out of people, but I think that's the problem with a lot of these large corporate like just these corporate entities that we have nowadays and that we had then. There is no nuance and there is no in between. It's all or nothing. So it's not like, okay, yes, we can get some more efficiency, but also take care of our people. It's no, just get as much efficiency and get as cheap as possible to get the same, or at least approximately the same product. Every single fucking time I see them do this, they never do it like a little bit and say, well, we could increase efficiency, but still take care of our people. No, it's like go to the max and quality always suffers.
I mean,
Every single time.
we saw that with Twitter, when Elon Musk bought Twitter. He fired a shitload of like engineers, people who were just, designed websites or who could code, and told whatever people stayed on, work harder, work longer. And he even tried to hire people for free. Um, Companies like, there's probably some companies who, not just Twitter. I mean, I'm sure Meta probably does too, that
Well, it's an
hire,
across the board, like
as
Jake
I
said,
say, it's just all about maybe increasing uh, increasing productivity. And the problem is though is that it suffers. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, to a degree, yes, that is true. But I do think in a lot of places, and I don't, once again, we're getting the nitty gritty about this fictional company and this fictional show that I think it was just trying to like kind of make its
yeah,
point. But I can't help
yeah,
but look at it like that. And I'm like, yeah, maybe they did have, like Triv alluded to a moment ago, maybe they had 5 people doing a 3-man job. Maybe it
yeah.
was like a lot of waste. And I think sometimes that's the unfortunate part of it. Sometimes that kind of shit's got to happen. However,
Mhm.
what I gathered from the show and what I have seen real world, it is never that. It's like, okay, we've got, let's say, 5 people doing a 3-man job. All right, so let's cut it down to one person doing 3-man job. And it's like, wait, see, you went too far this way. It's like you can't meet in the middle. I understand you want to be efficient. You got to spend some money to make money though. And quality every single time. It's like these big large companies, they don't give a fuck about quality. They give a fuck about
No,
can we get out a product? Like he said, I just want the product out. Just get the
yeah,
product out. It's not so much about the quality of the product. And while sure, you can do that for a long time. I mean, you have brand recognition, you can do that for a long time and people will still buy your product. Eventually though, people will catch on and they'll be like, this product's not so good. And we talked about replacement, and they talked about that a lot in this. Is like anybody's replaceable. That's true. Triv said you said the car
car
dealer.
dealer.
He said
Yeah.
everybody here is replaceable, including me. That is a fact. I mean, in most jobs, that's something I know. They know. That doesn't mean I have to sit there and preach it. I wouldn't live
Oh
by
yeah,
that.
well this guy was not exactly a good person by any
Yeah.
stretch. He was
it was a
No,
he was
used car dealership, used car
Yeah, he
well,
was
dealer.
greedy.
there's good and bad car dealerships, but this particular one definitely
He used it as a threat.
oh,
And
100%.
I
Yeah,
would never want anyone working for me who is under the constant fear of getting fired. I've always told every single person that's worked for me, if you're going to get fired, you're going to know it before it happens. When it
Right.
happens, you'll be like, yeah, no. And like, you're not just going to suddenly, I mean,
yeah.
I guess never say never. Everybody's got a boss and they tell them to do things. But and I've never walked up to a person and fired them and they were like, what? Like they always,
if
it
I
was
start
like,
staring at you, that means you're fired.
yeah, we've talked about this, or you did something you damn well knew. I've never fired someone that did not know it was going to happen, or at least that if they got caught or whatever was going to happen. So, but I live by, and this has nothing to do with this episode, really. I mean, it doesn't, it's not what the episode's trying to say. I've always said, sure, I am replaceable. You're replaceable. We're all replaceable. Nobody here is apart from, even if you have your own business, you are replaceable. That's why you do such a fucking good job that they can't replace you. That and also, yeah, even that company's replaceable because somebody else is going to make a similar product.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you make a shit product, eventually people are going to move over to another product,
Yeah.
Pepsi and Coke.
Yeah.
Well,
You know,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I question that sometimes because name like brand loyalty
Apple.
as well. Hey,
We
whoa, whoa,
talk.
whoa, whoa,
We
whoa, whoa.
when you talk
I
about
have, yeah.
brand loyalty.
I have the invisible phone apparently.
You have a quarter of a
brand
phone.
loyalty you can coast by on brand loyalty for a long time, but
Yeah.
eventually, if you just keep fucking around, somebody else will come along that offers a better product and actually catches, and people will eventually start going over to it unless some of these companies change. Which I mean, some of them
Yeah.
they see, oh shit, our profit margins or this place is creeping in. I mean, that's how Android got in there. Android wasn't shit.
Yeah.
Apple cornered the fucking market in smartphones. Android was like,
Well,
look at those little guys over there. But Apple kept slipping.
Well, the thing Android did was they allowed it to be an open source engine.
Yeah, wasn't a walled
compared
garden.
to a closed source.
Exactly.
And that's what people were saying. Even people that had Apple products were saying, oh, yeah, that is a drawback to Apple. Android came in and gave the people what the fuck they wanted. And Apple
get rid
didn't.
of
So they lost a lot of mind share there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and look too, like when Steve Jobs died, I remember someone saying, "We will not see another like new thing come out from Apple." And
Not like a
basically,
new innovative thing.
not a new innovative thing. Like how has the iPhone been updated? They've increased, with the technologies of the phone.
Got
Some
more
of
cameras.
the
everything increases.
well, right, but what else has Apple come out with that's been revolutionary?
Yeah, like
Apple
revolutionary.
AI.
It's not an Apple thing specifically.
I'm gonna tell you what.
One could say that the heart and soul of Apple died when Steve Jobs did. Some people say it didn't have one even then, but it definitely, whatever it did have,
a deep dark pit where a soul would be.
Yeah, it did die with him. He was the one who cared. I don't know, but I think that man cared about more than just the profit margin. And I feel like the people that are in charge now, that's all they care about. Kind of like Mr. Whipple.
Yep.
Thank you for the the shift over.
Welcome to our communist podcast. We are the revolution.
Guerrilla warfare.
One other thing I found really interesting, and this is maybe just me, but when we first started this podcast, they had the "Where Is Everybody" episode, and then they had Rod Serling on talking to to sponsors or possible sponsors at that point. It was really kind of a cool behind the scenes thing.
Mm-hmm. He talks
about when Whipple talks about to the shareholders, it kind of felt like that same kind of a pitch, but done in a very much more cynical way, being at the point where we're at in this season, or in this where we're at in the Twilight Zone.
I mean, this could actually, that you say that, I didn't thought of that. This could be kind of a reflection of, at least in part, how Rod or Mr. Serling thought or felt about how, was it CBS?
CBS
was wanting to just crank out product.
Yeah.
And push and make it more efficient. And we don't really care about the quality so much because people are going to watch it because it says Twilight Zone because it's big.
Which is ironic because not long after this season ended, we got Star Trek. We got all kinds of stuff. Mission Impossible.
And the only reason we got Star Trek was because of Lucy and Desi Arnaz. Yeah.
Well, no, but like,
and how long did Star
CBS
Trek
was
last?
putting out like Mission Impossible and stuff.
I think
3 seasons.
3 seasons was the original.
Yeah. Just three or four. Yeah,
and then 3. I'm just saying, like, this episode is condemnation of, like, I can't talk about the company I work for, but you can kind of figure it out if you think about it. They do things that are very
Sam's Wholesale.
Yes, Sam's Wholesale. I work for BJ's Wholesale.
Well, that's the other thing too. You talk CBS, and I think it wasn't in the 60s, maybe it was the 70s. You talk about like things being replaceable. They kind of went through and kind of tossed out all of their long-standing programming and went in a completely different direction. They canceled damn near. I'm trying to think. It was like
the Beverly Hillbillies, Green Acres, Petticoat Junction. It was like all the like the Paul Hemming stuff and the redneck stuff, and they went to like All in the Family, and they went to Mary Tyler Moore, and they went to MASH, and they went to
Can I ask this question though? Do you think that was bad that they did that. I'm
Well,
not
no,
saying that
but
it's not bad that
it-
people
They
lost their
canceled
jobs.
Green
I'm just saying.
Acres. Yeah, it was bad.
Yes, exactly. But it
Yeah,
was
but
it
we
was
got
that
Archie
it was
Bunker.
that but that there was that lack of balance. It was that okay, we're not going to hold on to any of this. We're just going to dump it all out, regardless of how
But
much people may or
that's
may
just
not like it.
that is the world though. Like
Oh,
I'm
I
not
know,
saying
but
it's
that's what
good,
I'm
but I'm like
saying.
the problem I see and the problem and I promise folks we'll get into the brain center of Whipples here in a second.
Well,
The
we're
problem
kind of
I
talking
see
about stuff around it, though.
well no, but the problem I see with like the argument about the firing people is it's unfortunately the fact that we bitch about it and we complain about it, but then we don't do anything about it. We allow these companies. Look at that fucking. Have you guys seen that video of that automaton guy? It was like that thing on. It was like on a. He was like a horror film, like this like thing out of Westworld, the TV
Oh
series,
yeah, yeah.
where
The
it's just like
muscular.
dangling from like a
Yeah,
cord. And it's actually moving.
yeah, yeah.
It's like oh, we complain about how the fact that you like if you watch videos, there's a guy I watch that works at McDonald's that runs McDonald's, and you see the machines that they use, like the burger machine. They just press a button and it like comes down and grills the burgers, but we don't do anything about it. That's what this episode like. This episode is trying to say is like you're allowing this guy to do this, and you're not doing anything about it, and that's what I find
mean,
very interesting.
But there were people trying to. I think with any of this stuff, if you're
But
regardless,
like when you look at a big company, they're not doing it. Like going when they're complaining, oh, they're gonna throw us out of our jobs. Well, you got to strike back at that. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna sit back and yeah, they took
there's
our
only so much you
jobs.
can. As someone that works at a company, there's only so much you can do. You can go. I mean, short of striking or trying to form a union or protest to someone higher. What do you do that when you're in that realm? I mean, you got
Well,
the one
I'm
guy
sorry,
who
Trib.
shot
There's
into.
plenty of people can do, but you look at the state. I mean, I'm not trying to be a
But
political.
I'm just
We're not a
saying,
political
if you're
podcast.
trying to,
I'm just
if you're,
saying people obviously don't give a shit. So it's just like,
I
I
think a
got some
lot of
ideas,
people
but
give it, but that's
well,
not.
no, I mean,
that's-
we give a shit. I'm just saying most people don't care enough they're willing to let the world burn and willing to
I don't think that's a fair
come back.
statement, but it's
I-
not
I-
the
I
point
got
of this thing. It's not. We're not. That's not the podcast.
Kurt's gonna
That's
become our
right,
new
but that's
savior.
not the goddamn point of this podcast. But if you're
Well, no,
in
I'm
that
just saying like
space,
that, but that's what this is what this episode is trying to do. It's like trying to say, well, you look at you're willing to let a guy take over and do whatever he wants, but
yeah, and
I
the
don't
guy
know.
ended up getting shot because of it.
Yeah,
He got shot?
I didn't take that from it. I mean, I think it's more. I mean, I guess to a degree you could look at it that way. I think it was more just saying, because like I said, that was a genuine fear of
Yeah,
losing our jobs to machines and just how the companies. I mean, the companies even before the machines were always excessive on things and more. I mean, it was just like, hey, they're more interested in money, not as than the people. Even when the
Yeah.
foreman or whatever it was, the warehouse manager or whatever it was, he came up and he's like, the difference between you and your dad is, yeah, he cared about the bottom line. He cared about because it is a business at the end of the day, but he cared about the people too. And and you don't. And these machines you're putting in place definitely don't. So
Yeah.
that's
short
like,
of Robby the robot, he might have given a shit, but
I don't think Robby gave a fuck.
probably not. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
I
like,
guess.
yeah,
I got some ideas of what you could do, but I'm not
That's-
going to say them.
yeah. This isn't that kind of podcast.
I know.
We're talking,
I know.
and I know it's super easy, and it needs to be just
barely
like
an inconvenience.
yeah, exactly. You can. The one nice thing about the Twilight Zone is it is across the board. By and large, you can equate stuff now, and it makes sense in the '60s. You could take it back to when Henry Ford started the assembly line, because that was to some extent a mechanical thing, but that it is a
And you can take
universal
that back
thing.
to this.
But
you can take that back to the Union Stockyards in Chicago, where he learned that.
100%. No, 100%.
Well, it was a disassembly line, but
Right. But it is still that point.
yeah.
And that's a nice thing about it. You can have those discussions, but you still have to. We're talking about this episode specifically, so it's that balance of things.
Well, this is a very tenuous topic I didn't expect us to get into, but Jacob, you want to do the opening narration?
Sure. I'm the icebreaker.
I know. I know. Alex is yelling at us right now. So
Stop eating your mic.
These are the players, with or without a scorecard. In one corner, a machine. In the other corner, a Wallace v. Whipple. Man! And the game, it happens to be the historical battle between flesh and steel, between the brain of man and the product of man's brain. We don't make book on this one and predict no winner, but we can tell you for this particular contest, there is standing room only in the Twilight Zone. We don't make book. I get it now.
Yeah, it's betting.
But
That's
when
betting.
but when I just was reading it for the first
Yeah,
time,
it's make book
You
just
mean,
sounds
okay,
weird to
Alex
say.
Alex is gonna be disappointed in you, man. You're supposed to have read this through like 15 times before you get on.
You should talk
Definitely
like
did.
Howard Cosell.
Definitely. I have it committed to memory. In fact.
Yeah, exactly.
I just look over there for just inspiration.
In this corner, Mr. Whipple.
Oh, by the way, I have to say something about Rod Serling. That dude is looking rough by now. Like, man, the 5 years that he did this, he looks like he's the
90% cancer at this point.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not for another. That's not for another 15 years.
Yeah,
no, but the reason I'm saying
he had a heart
he
attack.
like,
Did he ever have cancer?
I know
he had like I think he did have a heart attack, but I don't know if he had cancer. He might have.
Well, no, I'm just saying he looked like he was a president at some point. His age, like he aged like dramatically.
That's a lot of stress.
Crazy.
I mean, shit.
Well, a lot of stress and a lot of unfiltered cigarettes.
Exactly.
Everybody did at that
Oasis,
time, though, you know?
Oasis, indeed.
Chesterfields too.
The Oasis into the
Kings.
age. God,
all right, so where were we talking about Twilight Zone? We were talking about.
We actually weren't talking about. That's the no. We actually no. Believe it or not, we were. I mean, we were talking about kind of how this episode is kind of structured in the simple fact of what it's trying to do. So I think even though we went on tangents about different things and argued about different things, we still stuck on the actual episode. It's just we didn't talk about the actual episode. We just kind of went on our how we feel type of thing. But can I say this right now? I think
what's that?
The Twilight Zone was the best thing that happened. I mean, when it comes to Richard Donner, because Richard Donner's episodes, they may not all be the best, but they are some of the best looking episodes. I mean, like
the guy knew how to shoot movies. I mean, the guy's this is what he was probably his 20s at this point when he was making like these Twilight Zone episodes or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of wonder like what got him hired because you learn about like Steven Spielberg and
Sneaking on the back lot.
Well, no, not that. Well, that too, but like he directed the unofficial pilot for Columbo, I think it was.
Oh wow, that's
and
cool.
then he did some Night Gallery episodes. So it's amazing these directors that come in like Richard Donner and just how good they are just shooting stuff. And this episode just has like a movie feel to it, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it's like the best episode in the world. Like, actually, I'm curious, Jacob, what was your like main issues with this episode in general? Because you said you had some issues with this episode. Did you have anything like major about it? Like outside Robby the robot, apparently.
I mean, I enjoyed the episode just because I thought it was. I enjoyed the because obviously it was an issue back then. The whole thing, like I talked about how everybody was worried that machines were going to take over their jobs. Because I remember that. I mean, now you get the whole, like I said, like the AI is going to take over our jobs. But I remember it was still that same fear when I was a kid, like in the 80s and 90s, even into I guess the early 2000s. Probably people were so afraid that not necessarily robots, but machines were going to take over our jobs and like automation and things like that. And like I think one of you guys mentioned the McDonald's thing, how a lot of McDonald's and fast food restaurants they don't even. I mean, I'm sure they have employees, but they don't have nearly as many. There's like a here way out in the sticks where I live. There's a Little Caesars. I mean, that's kind of amazing unto itself. But there's a Little Caesars that I'm sure there's somebody in there, but you come in. It's like an automat.
Yeah.
You walk in and just you swipe a card or whatever, and you pull. I mean, everything's automated. And like my daughter used to work. One of my oldest daughters, she used to work for Papa John's, and she said some of their stores had like automatic pizza makers. They like made everything. You ordered it, and it like a machine put it together. And it popped.
Well, One of
Not
the
at hers,
Universal
but
hotels. One of the Universal hotels has a thing where you can put like if you need like a toothbrush or something, they can put it in this little robot and send it to its room, and it actually goes to the room.
well, and like I was talking about earlier, it's probably not on the show, like 3D printing and stuff like that. They have food 3D printers now. I mean, and that was years ago when I saw that. There's edible, so I'm sure like print this technology is going to replace somebody at some point when this stuff gets faster, and it is faster every day. So like I like seeing like the viewpoint from people how they thought it would be like way back then. So I found that interesting. And a lot of these conversations they were having, I've been privy to or similar. This was obviously exaggerated, but like similar conversations in my work life over the years in upper management about like, hey, cut all these people out and we could, make more money. And I'm like, and some of us, myself included, sometimes we're like, yeah, but what is that going to do? First of all, we have our people that we need to take care of, but also, I don't mean if people ain't doing their job, fuck off. But I mean, there's people you should take care of, and also there's something a machine's never going to be able to do, and is that, and they mentioned it in this episode, is the personal touch from a human being. I agree with that. I think that, there's some things machines can do and just clearly they can do it better, but I think that the human touch needs to always be there. But so I liked all that. My only real issue, it's not even an issue. Like I said, it's not an issue, but thing I noticed, it didn't seem, I guess throwing Robby the robot there in the end did kinda, but we talked about it a couple episodes back. I don't remember offhand which one it is, but we said it didn't really seem like a Twilight Zone episode, like from a story perspective. This one really didn't. It was just kind of like, and maybe it's just because maybe then it was more far fetched, but now especially it's kind of like, well, that's not far fetched. Replacing everybody with some sort of machine or something automation. And in the end, it was just that everybody got replaced. And who didn't see the end? Or me, I saw the end coming to a degree. I was like, well, it's going to go down the line, and he's going to have nobody, and then he's going to get replaced by something. Which I thought the Robby the robot thing was kind of funny, but it didn't really have much of a. I guess that was the twist, but seeing as how it was, in my opinion, so obvious, it didn't have much of a twist. And I guess it would have been it would have been sci-fi then, but now it's not, which is kind of interesting because today's science fiction is tomorrow's science fact. But like, it's just not science fiction now, so it doesn't really seem like Twilight Zone in that way. That it's like, well, this isn't really like Twilight Zone. This is just the real world.
It's kind of like The
Exaggerated
Onion
a
used
bit.
to be super funny, and now it's just like
Now it's just
kind of
predicting.
pretty standard
Yeah.
headlines, really.
Yeah.
Like, and so, I mean, I guess there's that. Now that I think of it that way, I'm like, well, maybe in the 60s, it was kind of like pseudo sci-fi. So that would have been more Twilight Zone-y. And now looking through the 2025 goggles, I'm just kind of like, what's sci-fi or fantasy or whatever? What's Twilight Zone-y about this? That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the word. What's sci-fi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking like silly things like, and I don't know that Tex Avery was in the 60s. I think he was more 50s. But he did this whole series of like The House of Tomorrow, The Car of Tomorrow, or even the Carousel of Progress
Nuclear
with
power.
Disney. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like the things that they said, oh well, in 50 years time or 60 years time, they'll be this or they'll be that, and it's interesting to see, like even as a jokey thing.
I've always said that's my favorite kind of fantasy reality is that 50s retro, what we look like in the 90s and 2000s with the, the spaceships and all that stuff that like Tomorrowland, that world. Because it feels optimistic. It feels like people are working together for a common goal. And now it's, we might be replaced or we might lose our jobs or we might, be, who knows? Like money is, it's such the worry is what this episode is trying to do in a lot of respects. And I appreciate that. I just know that. What's up?
It's odd that you say that. I don't know how much this has to do with the episode, but just based on just going off of what you said a second ago, kind of a mini revelation I had. The back in that time, the 50s, that kind of retro Tomorrowland look is like everybody's working together, then coming together, unity, all that, and creating these wonderful things, and it seems so optimistic and hopeful. And like now, that's just like right. That's not how it is. one has to
What are you
wonder.
talking about? We're more united as a country than ever.
Well, just as a people, like I feel like we're
sarcastic bitches.
nobody.
No, we're worse than
And
that.
I swear I'm going somewhere with this. Nobody, I'm not saying there's nobody out there who cares about anybody, but there is just as a whole, we as a people just we care more about ourselves than anybody else. We don't really care about ourselves as a whole, as a human race, as a singular like population
See,
within our own country. We're just
we all
so interested in our own interest and fuck everybody else. And one has to wonder, then we look at the machines that we've created and they're kind of that way. And well, I get it. They're machines. They're created by people that feel that way and act that way. Maybe the machines take on some of those traits.
Oh yeah. Well, look at there was I remember hearing about an AI setup over in I think it was Japan or China, but there was it was a like a chat bot type thing. Started out optimistic and pretty normal, but by the end it actually like
It was suicidal.
Yeah, exactly.
It started chain smoking and shrinking.
It seppuku'd itself.
Yes.
I was gonna say apathy is a hell of a drug, and we as Americans always, we can all speak for this. As Americans, we all speak for this. We were always taught that like individualism is the best thing ever, and don't look, collectivism is bad. Speaking as somebody who's a semi-socialist, I think that we need to help take care of each other, especially now.
well, see the funny thing what you talk about, Kurt, is I think we all want stability, but we all don't go about it the right way. Even the people who have the right intentions sometimes don't know how to harness the good intentions, and I think it goes by wayside of other people and their thinking, and it's just a lot of weird shit going on. And it's like this episode. It's just like when you sit here and watch a guy have all this power to be able to fire so many people and nobody has any recourse, and it's a scary fucking thing. But it's like everybody just wants to survive, and here we are not surviving.
It's almost like we have this going on right now in our federal government.
Well,
with
all I know is
unelected South
I
African.
just want to go to that fucking bar and just sit there because they got tiki stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that I think I don't know if it like intentionally touched on it or whatever, but like when after the we don't think about when automation happens, like how that affects not just the factory itself, but like businesses around factories and stuff like that, like bars and restaurants and stuff like that. Those businesses die because there's no customers to go to those establishments, and I was gonna say it's all connected by threads, and not the social media website like a
or the
hypothetical
movie.
Was
or
that
the movie
bar on the campus or whatever?
No, I think it was.
No,
like
I think it was across the road.
Is that okay? Because it looked like the sign was on the bar's window, like it said the Whipple. I was like, is this his own bar?
That would have been hilarious if he would have.
been.
I did really appreciate.
60s, maybe.
I did really appreciate the fact that there's, they left it vague, but like the it's the Midwest, because you look at a lot of these small towns, and I mean the one I grew up in has it too, like it lives and dies by the ability to hold people in a town, because like you said, it's all connected. If the place that employs half the town in one way, shape, or form goes out, there goes your,
businesses are gone.
any
Tons of
business,
Midwest towns like
harder.
that.
Yeah, you can't sell, you can't get rid of your house and move because,
Property
no one is
values are
buying.
down.
Well, no, and no one is gonna buy that house because who's gonna come into a town that's dying?
The factory
Schools
Right.
die.
Silent Hill syndrome.
The town rolled up.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
We're seeing, well, I mean, we're kind of seeing the opposite end of that right here in Indiana, because we're seeing a population boom because evidently people want to come here for manufacturing. I don't know why. But I'm slightly okay with that because, like I said, we were hit hard when factories started closing in the start of the Reagan era. So it's like, sometimes that cosmic wave of whatever, of like, job loss just kind of bends backwards the other way.
It's ebb and flow. It's
It's ebb and flow.
Yeah, you're gonna have growth in one place and a decline someplace else. That's the nature of any of this stuff. So
Midwesterns unite.
Yeah, something.
You know what's funny? This is kind of off topic, but
oh,
I
that's the
found
first
out
thing tonight that's been off subject.
well, no,
Holy
but we're not
shit.
actually believe it or not, we're not off topic because we are talking about this episode in a different light than we usually do. Usually we just talk about the episode, but no, I
could
found
start
out
talking
that
about Sonic tits.
I mean, you could, please don't, but god damn it.
You want to get this video age restricted?
Anyway,
But
continue.
What are you saying, Nick?
I found out because Ohio, because of the way that the industrial industry works in the United States, that Ohio, if there were ever a nuclear attack, Ohio would be actually one of the states that would get attacked, like because of how we intersect with the roads and stuff like that. So it's like Disney would be because of the tourist industry, and apparently Ohio is like a really big when it comes to like however the industrial stuff works. But
Right.
anyways,
So what you're saying
so what's that?
is that all you motherfuckers are dead, but my ass out here in Selma, Alabama is safe.
I was gonna say I'm pretty all right too. Maybe just need to move.
We got a bridge.
I'm
That's it.
downwind from a reserve Air Force base, so I think I'm toast.
I mean, I'm 2.5 hours away from Orlando, so I think I'd be kind of safe for a few hours. So
Yeah, until the fallout. We've seen
exactly.
threats.
And Fallout
I'm
3
west of
happens.
y'all, so I'm gonna be fine.
Anything.
Yeah.
Triv, if there's a nuclear bomb, I'm gonna send it to Iowa.
We're a flyover. People can't even find us on a map, so we're fine.
I can.
They'll end up bombing like Missouri.
You know what?
That's okay.
How about like
Call that
Idaho or something like that?
gentrification.
Yeah, Idaho. Is it Idaho that we need to attack? No, it's Ohio. Oh, okay, hang on. Oh, we're hitting Utah. What? No, not Utah.
Not the Mormons.
You know, one of the best jokes I ever saw in a show was South Park did an episode where they're going to go visit Mr. Hanky at a mall in Nebraska. So they go from Colorado, and whenever Colorado has like these nice mountains and snow, and when they travel into Nebraska, it's just like corn and like banjo music. It's like the most boring thing.
That's about right. That and the Huskers.
That sounds about right. I've never been to Nebraska, and that sounds about right.
Yeah, you can say that about a lot of the Midwest is just how boring it is.
Well, not my part of the state. I got stuck in like the alphabet game where you try and go through the alphabet and try and find the signs.
I see my little eye.
I got stuck on Q for the better half of Nebraska. That sucked.
Shoot.
Okay, so what's Jake doing?
Oh yeah, I gotta talk about how awesome it was to see Richard Deacon playing a bad guy, because like I said, I only know him as Mel Cooley from Dick Van Dyke Show.
Nice. Yeah, he did a great he played the over the top, just like weird bad guy pretty well.
Yeah, excellent.
He's slimy as hell.
Yeah,
is he a bad guy or is he just greedy? Is he a Mr. Burns type of bad guy? Do you think? Does he want to blot out the sun?
No, he doesn't want to blot out the sun. He just wants to. He
wants to fuck the sun.
Like with me, like I said, my semi very partly left leaning politics. I don't much like CEOs that much. Obviously, I've never been shy about how I feel about like certain people like Elon Musk, ever. So I view him as a bad guy, but I mean, I think an argument could be made he's just, trying to protect his bottom dollar, and I get that. But at the same time, too, I view him as a bad guy because his mistreatment of workers and his uncaringness about their plight. You know what I mean? Blight.
I actually thought this was a
flight. Not plight. Their plight with a P.
Right.
Not
I
blight.
don't know what I thought
That's
about
what happens when factories close.
Right. I didn't know what I thought about. I didn't know what I thought about this episode going in because for some reason I thought it was something completely different, but it ended up being more layered than I thought it was going to be. So
Robby the robot turns out to be like the T-800.
Right. It's going back in time to kill Whipple.
Sarah Connor. Come with me if you want to live.
They really got their like dollars worth when it comes to Forbidden Planet in the show, didn't they?
Uh-huh. So what other
My
episode
God,
do they have Robbie the Robot on? Was it like the
like
first season?
12 other episodes.
Oh, was it 12? I didn't know how many.
No, it's a
Oh,
lot. They have them quite a
yeah.
bit.
So,
And
the robot, let's see. Robbie the Robot from 1956's sci-fi film Forbidden Planet. Robbie appears in 2 other episodes of The Twilight Zone, one for the Angels as a miniature toy, and Uncle Simon. It's only 2.
Oh,
Well, it seemed like a lot. I just like how he's credited as Robbie the Robot in the show. It's like they actually
That's
gave
how
him
he's
actual credit.
that's how he's credited on IMDb too.
That's crazy. That's funny and
Mhm.
pretty hilarious. So I mean, there's not the episode's pretty. We've been kind of talking about the episode, kind of in a non-episode talking way,
Roundabout
but
way.
yeah, it's about a guy named Whipple who owns a company in the Midwest, and he decides that his profits are more important than his people, and he decides he's going to put computers in there, and it's going to allow him to make more money for less less
Yeah.
work, and it backfires on him dramatically. He fires, and I like some of the shots in this where like they'll show the parking lot, and then he'll flip a button, all of a sudden the parking lot's gone, like the cars are gone.
Cafeteria.
They do a lot of
or
cool
the
shots in
cafeteria.
this.
Yeah, the cafeteria goes like having all the employees in it to it being a desolate wasteland, basically, with like just
Right.
these
And I
empty
like
tables. And the technician talks about how, there's like a couple vending machines and like music being piped through the loudspeaker, which that sounds
right.
like waste. You're paying a vending machine guy to come and stock the vending machine for what? 3? We only see like 4 employees. 3? No, 3.
Uh-huh.
We see the 2 technicians, and well, we only really see the 1 technician, the white technician, one time, and that was when they were moving the machine out from his office to the floor. We see the African American technician another time, and that's when he's talking about, he asked him to do these tests, and he's like, "Why do you want me to do these tests? These machines are perfect. You can't just do 8 tests in one day. It's counterproductive." And that does make sense because, if it's running right now, it could be running right in a few hours.
Yeah, I like how he
Examples
like how he
with
says you're
the
useful for
dictaphone.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that uses the dictaphone, it's used on the typewriter.
Oh no, not a dictaphone, a dick.
It's a dick to phone.
Exactly.
Dictaphone. Or it uses the Dictabird from that Flintstones movie that was, I think was it Rowan Atkinson?
Like
No, it wasn't
sarcastic
Rowan
dick the
Atkinson.
bird.
It was no shit. Who was that who did that? I can't
Was it
remember.
Paul Lynde?
No, it wasn't Paul Lynde. Paul Lynde was at that. No, well, Paul Lynde might have done it in the '60s television or the television show, but I'm thinking the Flintstones movie.
Oh, the movie. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, but yeah, it's just it's a good one. I mean, this is like I said, like when you asked me to do that, when they asked me if I wanted to do this morning, I thinking about either doing this or the one next week. And I saw the rating of it. It's a 6.6 on IMDb, and I'm like, this one might be pretty good. And I wasn't disappointed. I mean, yeah, you could see the ending coming a mile away, but it still was a good enough episode for me to
Yeah,
keep
it's a
me
solid
entertained.
episode.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
And-
I'll give you one hint. Whip, stir, whip, stir.
Oh,
stir.
Harvey
Harvey.
Korman.
It was Harvey.
Yeah,
Oh, it was
yeah.
Harvey.
And
Harvey
then he
Korman, his
chokes
brother
on-
Navy
chokes on the
Korman.
thing he chokes on the thing in Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
Kinky.
Or he chips his tooth in History of the World Part 1 when he kisses where he hits the bust. Chipped.
Right. I mean, but yeah, I mean, like, it basically leads to a guy who becomes so up his own ass that when he gets fired, he's like, "What? Oh, whoa me! Oh, whoa me! How can they replace me?" I'm like, "Motherfucker, you just replaced your whole entire staff for robots, and you don't expect the AI to become self-aware and like take over your company and kick you out? I mean, what the hell were you expecting? Like,
Yeah.
this isn't."
I
don't
love
know.
that scene. I love that scene at the end of the bar.
Yeah,
The
it's so
poor
fucking-
old man retires, just drinking his troubles away at the bar.
He does what we all want. I know, Jake, you probably enjoyed this for a couple years, or actually, you may not because you have kids. But the fact that the old man who was retired is like, "Oh, I get to sleep in. It was so nice," and he's just kind of happy now. And then he's like, You did it to yourself. I almost thought he was going to ask this old man to come back to work for him so they could take over the robot revolution, but it didn't happen that way. So,
He was getting a little homoerotic there for a minute. He's kind of,
I mean, yeah.
As you'd expect.
All he needed to do is put his hands on the back of the guy's shoulders. And it would...
massage. Get a little lonely over here. I don't have
Someone else massage my shoulders. But yeah.
Do you want to come back to my place for a little bit? We can watch some Ed Sullivan.
Yeah,
Hey, we
those
can
damn
watch some
Beatles are on
Twilight
TV.
Zone.
Yeah,
Oh,
this was a solid episode. Oh my. Yeah, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's it really is one of those few episodes that is very prescient, to be fairly honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love sometimes where is this written by? Did I say this is written by Russ? Yeah, it's like it's crazy when you think about some people who have like their look onto the pulse of the world and they see what's happening and they're able to position that into a story that seems relevant, even though it doesn't work a lot of times, as we've seen in this series, Trouble at Templeton, the jungle. It does have some meaning when it comes to what's that episode, Eye of the Beholder, which will probably not be dethroned at this point.
Well, I'd hope not. It'd be weird.
Probably
otherwise.
not. It's
Witchy pool.
Really good.
I mean, if we really wanted to mindfuck with people, we could make the Bewitching Pool #1 and the series on a banger.
We could make the Monsters Who Do on Maple Street #1.
No, for God's sake, why would we do that? That's stupid.
We half of this group would put that as #1. Thank you very much.
All right, you know what? No
Okay, then,
offense,
Major
Kurt,
Payne.
but out of the three of us that have been on this podcast the longest, two of us would not move Monsters to Do on Maple Street to #1.
Kurt's the new host, so he gets majority rule. I'm sorry, Kurt.
I have the electoral college on my behalf. I'm the
Exactly.
minority, but I have
And
the
I'm
electoral college.
I think you should just make #2 #1 because
How
Hey.
about?
I'd be
Oh
good
yeah,
with that.
#2. We'll put Owl Creek Bridge at #1.
No.
#2 is not Owl Creek Bridge.
This is my heart. Gosh.
Well, this list is not just you bastard.
Yeah, it's a collective.
Yes. Although I bet
mean-
you there's Rule 34 of the Monsters to Do on Maple Street.
There is.
Probably.
It's called The Monsters Are Humping on Maple Street.
Being
Well, that's
just
absorbed
silly.
by the collective.
Anal
Well, no, I
on
do
Maple
got to ask
Street.
you guys about one of the more goofier moments is you have this like despondent guy who's been fired. He breaks into the automated system room or whatever, and he starts destroying one of the computers, and then they shoot him. And he just kind of just kind of slowly dies. Like I know
Okay.
Jake, that's some of your favorite stuff.
Who
Does
else
he die?
did not think when that happened? Suddenly, this man was like, because he's like blowing up all over him. He was going to become like a ghost in the machine kind of thing.
Oh
That
God, that
would've
would have
been
been
great.
awesome.
He's Robbie
Yeah,
the
he was-
robot. They
I was
they
like,
put
is
him
he
in
about
Robbie
to,
the
like,
robot.
Inhabit this like robot, this machine truck.
He becomes
like-
the
he's
old
like-
man in the machine.
Yeah.
or old
He's
man.
like what's the old man from Tron who was like he's like the master control program basically.
He's like the giant thing that has like the spear that's like spinning really quickly.
I would like to point out though, the whole time this is going on, and it shows like that wide shot that I actually like the layout of, where Whipple's up on the catwalk thing and the guy's down here. There's a security guard right there the whole time, and then when dude starts wailing on it, the security guard runs up and goes, "What do you want me to do, Mr. Whipple?" Fuck your job. That's what you're about to get replaced by a robot. What the fuck are you doing?
I'm getting paid 50 cents an hour. I don't want this shit.
How about
Man,
you
I
stop
Right.
the guy destroying our property? So that, Whipple just had to whipple that gun out and take matters into his own hands.
I did have to laugh, and I feel like a real cynical bitch for saying it, but like after he gets shot, he kind of dances around a little bit.
Yeah, he
Like,
did.
damn, that's a pretty
I thought he
good
was
dance.
electrocuted.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny, and then they're like, "Oh, that's enough. Cut the black." And they're like, "Do." It's like, shit. I like in Wikipedia. I'm looking. It says Whipple proceeds to replace secretaries with automated dictation machines, thinking that powder room breaks and maternity leave are inconveniences.
Well, I mean, you look at a lot of the guys
Oh,
that make the rules
that-
regarding that stuff, and
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
far off.
That's extremely prescient now.
Yeah.
Because
Well, it was then as well. I mean,
well, yeah, but it's
I understand, but
yeah,
let's not
yeah, I know the 60s,
walk away
60s,
from.
yeah,
This is something that's been across the board. So I'm not trying to be
I agree.
rude, but
I know, no, I get you,
generally.
I get you. I know. I should say something we could speak to as as Americans also is the fact that we do not treat maternity leave with the dignity and respect it deserves like the Europeans do.
Well, yeah, they give like the fathers like as much time as they need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like in Switzerland, like in or Sweden and shit.
You should move to Sweden so I can just take time off.
I told
You just
Dan
want to go here
today.
for a sauna.
Dan told me there's always a space on this couch.
It's like amazing how people get like a month off vacation just automatically.
Month off vacation and like the McDonald's employees make $22 an hour.
I just want a giant ass sauna. That's all I want.
Triv, you are a giant ass sauna. What?
Come down to
Minnesota. Move to Minnesota.
Right,
pretty sure they have
walk outside.
No, that's okay. I'll
Giant
stick
ass
where
sauna.
there's seasons.
Yeah, I mean you're coming to a
We
giant
did-
ass
we
sauna
did
when
a-
you come to Florida.
You're going to Florida.
Yeah,
We have
we
winter
just did.
for a month, and then
Yeah,
summer.
and then it's
then
like
hot.
97 degrees with 125% humidity the rest of the time.
They got more snow than we both did
I
here in
know.
Indiana and Iowa, respectively. So,
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, no.
Okay, so back on target. Damn it, Jake, where's your back on target thing?
Were we ever
Stay
on
on
target
target.
to start with? Honestly,
stay on target.
No.
That ship has sailed, my friend.
yeah. I'm gonna say 153 episodes. We've
Just for
never
you.
been on target once.
Porkins.
Poor
Stay on
Porkins.
target as he explodes in
R.I.P.
the millions of pieces. Okay, so
Didn't he die
like
twice?
we talked about earlier, he basically the board of directors, which is basically robots. Actually, I do have to say the idea of what they're showing with the computers and the server farms, I think it's pretty cool because that's kind of what it is now, except more advanced, of course, and a lot more computers. But it is pretty funny that
real anymore.
yeah, true. I do love the fact that they kind of understood the idea of what server farms were going to kind of be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're severance.
Someone's got severance on the brain.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah,
do.
that new
Oh,
season
that's
started. Said, yeah, that new season started. Of course, he's got severance on the brain.
Yeah, after watching the 7th episode, I do. Okay, so with that said, the board fires him, lets Whipple go, and he complains and cries, and everybody's like, "Get the fuck out of my bar because you're a bitch." And
There's a tear in my beer.
and Robby the robot basically is flinging around the kind of what Whipple did with the watch
Gold
and
chain.
yeah, picks up the phone and puts it to his chest.
Company.
What's that?
He's like,
Get fired from his own company.
Right. Well, I mean, it's funny
Does happen.
when companies go public, like the person that started the company is like, "You can't fire me. I started the company." Yes, we can. You work for the company. You work for the people
board
now.
of directors.
Yeah, you work for a fucking board of directors. Have you not watched
you can't
Spider-Man?
kill me, I quit.
I was surprised Mr. Whipple didn't do the thing where the guy stands up. He's like, "Nope," and just jumps out the window. I love
Oh
that.
yeah, it would be
Where is that
like
from?
Banzai.
RoboCop 3, there was a bit like that, but there was also the IT crowd when Renham
When he just
realizes that
walked out the window.
the police are investigating him stealing from the pension fund, so he literally just walks. He just
he went well.
gets out of his chair, walks towards the window, opens it, and jumps out.
He didn't even jump.
I
He
think
just
that's
kinda
what-
like said, "Well." He just walked over, went, whoop.
Yeah, he just falls out.
walked out.
Well, that's like
Yeah, he
when you're
walked
watching.
out.
Well, it's like when you're watching Game of Thrones and like the young king guy who can't handle it, just like, well, just walks to the window and jumps out.
Yeah.
It's like the most sudden, random, like, what the fuck just happened? It's kind of funny when they do it in comedy because it's so. I love how comedy is just so dark sometimes.
But yeah, he ended up Mr. Whipple after getting fired from his company. He ended up founding the Charmin toilet paper company.
I was
telling
gonna
people not
say,
to
what was
to
it
squeeze
Mr.
the Charmin.
Whipple? Was it Mr. Whipple? Was the Charmin guy?
Yeah, you could tell the guy who told people not to squeeze the Charmin.
Yeah, was it? I was trying to think. I knew it was something close, but I couldn't remember offhandedly what.
Wait, did I
was.
miss something? I don't remember.
Well, back
Yeah,
in
Mr.
the day.
yeah.
Go ahead, Kurt.
So yeah, back in the 70s, the Charmin toilet paper company had a basically a commercial pitchman called Mr. Whipple. Mr. Whipple ran a grocery store, a grocery store, and people would squeeze the Charmin because of how soft the Charmin was. And Mr. Whipple always told these people, don't squeeze the Charmin.
I remember, I think Adam Savage was one of the early actors in that too. Like,
Probably.
I remember them talking about, like he was talking about it at one point. Maybe it was a joke, but I think it was.
But yeah, it was back in the era of when you had to have commercial pitchmen, like the people who ran the
Well, I mean, it's a mascot
Chinese
brand,
laundry for
really.
Calgon.
Yeah. It's...
Calgon, take me away.
Yeah.
Calgon, blow me away.
Apparently, Whipple was named after Whipple's lumberyard. That
Yeah, it was where Richard Deacon and Rod Serling grew up in New York.
Yeah,
and it was the name of a lumberyard, and yeah, that stuck with them.
And then they use the same computer as the old man in the cave.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Looked like something. Looked like something.
They had like lots
it
of
looked like
lights, reel to reel.
yeah, yeah. It looked like something Robert Moog would have designed for Keith Emerson in the 1970s for the synthesizer.
You know what's funny about the reel to reel is we made like faster hard drives and stuff like that, but half of them are you still using like printing onto a thing.
Yeah,
like,
dude, like most of some of our defense secrets are kept on floppy disks still.
Right.
Not like the big 8-inch ones, but like the mini floppies. Yeah, a lot of our defense stuff's still on that stuff, which is pretty frightening.
Crazy? You know what's crazy though? So like most medical places, so if you're like your doctor office and stuff, the safest way for them to transfer records is via fax.
Makes sense.
Seriously. Yeah. It's a thing that a lot of them do. So yeah.
Well, Jake would probably know this, but PS3 was a big thing for the defense department. They bought a shit ton of PS3s, like PlayStation 3s. And they used them as computing because of the technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
That backfired.
Yeah. They couldn't figure out how to use it properly.
Yeah. Not properly, just couldn't figure out how to use them.
Yeah, they couldn't
engineered.
They created the PlayStation Live accounts and they all got hacked.
Right. And then
them in the lobbies, like they just got completely decimated.
Like,
right.
Then they got called computer that operated the moon landing. I was like, well, that was in 1969.
See, this thing has more computing power than the computer that operated the moon landing.
Yeah.
My cat
a vacuum cleaner I guess it's more power, not computing power, but
we've all seen Apollo 13.
No, yeah, exactly. One thing that was interesting about this as well, the story. So Rod Serling wrote a movie or did a movie back in '56 called Patterns, and this it's sort of the two have very similar like storylines and such, plots and whatnot.
Patterns.
Oh, Van Heflin's in it. Yeah. I have to watch this.
Like
Paddington? I think it's 100%. It's like Paddington's. I think it's probably on Tubi.
It's on Tubi, yeah.
Plex, Freebie. You know what we should watch so I can bitch about it is Planet of the Apes.
Like which one?
The original 68? One that the one that he wrote but got
the good one.
Is it a good one? I fucking hate
the original Planet of the Apes is amazing.
It's a great sci-fi movie.
Absolutely.
I have a soft spot for the Planet of the Apes sequels.
I like all the Planet of the Apes sequels except for the second one. I watch it because the third one. The second one.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I can't stand it.
I don't know. We'll kind of go from there. Like I said, Robby the Robot's now in charge of Whipples. But what else do you guys want to talk about with this episode? Is there anything we forgot to talk about? Is there anything you guys want to bring up? I mean,
so there's one thing. There's one thing that it's not really anything one way or the other, but I guess not knowing like when people were laid off, kind of how that all went. But like he says that he's going to give everybody like 4 months like notice.
Yeah,
as compared to a day. Now I know, obviously it doesn't happen anymore. But would it have been a thing that happened back in the '60s? Like for as big of a piece of, I guess, general shit as
they were giving them severance pay and stuff like that. They were giving them,
but it's still probably of that time. But there is, not that it's a redeeming factor for this guy, but it is like there were aspects of he understood, like he appreciated what his people did, even if he was kind of a massive, shaman squeezing person.
Yeah,
but he just didn't want to get sued.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got.
The shinning. You want to get sued?
Yeah. Oh God.
I like how Kurt just knows all the references I'm pulling out. You want to get sued?
Oh, I thought you said the shunting. I mistaken.
No,
Shunting.
no. The shitting was The Simpsons. It was the Shining parody from
Oh.
the Treehouse of Horror from
Yeah, I
season
would
6.
prefer the shunting.
From that Irish guy, the land
Groundskeeper Willie.
groundskeeper, yeah.
Scottish, yeah.
Scottish, yeah.
Make way for Willie.
Oh, man. Anybody else want to bring up anything?
I
know
hit all
Kurt, you
my
said you had
points.
nothing.
I got nothing.
Oh, I brought it up before we started, but I love when Henley bitch slapped Whipple. I thought that was fantastic.
It was like, I don't know, he's like, I got one thing for you. He did like a
Yeah.
Bruce Lee like really quick, and dude was like,
I'm not saying much right nuts.
what the fuck?
See, Trip was
He was like the Gene Wilder in Blazing Saddle. He like hit him so fast you didn't even see it. He's like, and then he just stood there the whole time like, did you just hit me? And what did you hit me with?
It's like
I don't know if that
he'd be
hurt
like
enough.
he'd be like what was it? Oh, at the movie At the Heat of the Night when Sidney Poitier slaps Mr. Endicott and he's just shocked. I think that's probably what it was.
My
I
head
guess.
sitting there saying, I don't know if that hurt or not, because I don't know if you've ever been hit so hard that you sit there and wonder for a minute. I think he hit me so hard it like bounced off and it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
That's
For some
happened
reason,
to me before.
I-
It's like,
I wish
that should hurt, but it didn't.
I wish I could remember. There's like there's someone that gets slapped and then he tries to grab the one hand and then slap comes from the other side. Is it Naked
It's like
Gun?
one of the
Yeah, it's the second
airplane
Naked Gun
movies or something
movie.
like
It's
Yeah.
like the
Naked Gun.
he grabs Priscilla Presley's hands, and then the
Yeah.
third slap comes from
Yeah,
like under,
exactly.
like underneath
That's-
the table, and he's like Leslie Nielsen's just like looking around.
My brain
kid's
went to that and I
scared.
don't know why, but I just because you don't see slaps like that in Twilight Zone, really.
No.
Does that make it number one for you, Triv? Because of the slap?
No, absolutely not.
The slap. It's the
Slap
not the
hold-
slap. It's the it's
The
that
slap heard
Sacri
around the
Quinto. It's that Sacri Quinto show that NBC ran like 2010. The slap.
The Naked Gun 2.5
Oh, nice.
Is it an
That's
actual
awesome.
game?
on the CDI. No, it's a
Ooh.
movie.
Oh, it's a Phillips.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have that from my
That's-
Philips CDI.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
This
I
episode was
like
parodied
that.
in Futurama episode Benderama.
I don't remember that episode. I don't offhandedly know what that episode is, but it doesn't say anything.
The name Whipple can be seen in various episodes of the third revival series.
So would that be the 90s one?
I
What was
guess.
it, the Forrest Whitaker one?
I guess.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it Burgess
so-
Meredith on the 80s one? Or am I thinking of the movie?
Second one would have been the 80s. Third one would have been
I mean, the second one, who was the... It didn't have like a host. It just
No,
had
I
a
think it was
character.
what's his face? The guy who was in not Nick of Time, Obsolete Man and
no. He just did the movie. I don't think he did. At
Burgess
least
Meredith.
for the first couple of seasons, he didn't do the. That wasn't him.
He's just...
Was that Harry Morgan? Bill or Colonel Potter from MASH?
I guess we could look it up on the interwebs machine. Here. Let's see.
narrated by Charles Aidman and Robin Ward.
Okay. Yeah, because Burgess Meredith was just the movie.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the...
Jerry Garcia. I guess Fish did the theme song because Jerry Garcia, Bob Weir.
Oh
Grant.
boy,
Did
that's
the theme song?
Yeah,
R.I.P.
apparently.
Bob Weir.
That was the first concert I ever went to was Fish.
Or not Fish, Grateful Dead.
Okay. Same thing.
Yeah, sorry, I got. They're gonna slap me for that one because if I don't get that right. Anyways, so Trib, Benderama is the gray goo theory and end of the world scenario, which out of control, self-replicating robots consume all matter on Earth while building more of themselves.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Patton Oswalt was in it.
I have to go back and watch
Okay.
Futurama again.
I love Futurama. I wasn't a big fan of like the later seasons, but I like that those first three seasons.
Yeah,
long as we
those
don't
first three
ever-
seasons are tight.
There's no tree.
As long as we don't ever watch Jurassic Park, I'm good. So
Jurassic Park. What's wrong with
no,
Jurassic,
Jurassic Park. Trib
Oh,
knows Jurassic
okay.
Park too.
Oh god, that was such a sad episode.
Oh,
Yes.
that's the one with Seymour Butts.
Is that where the
Right?
dog
Yeah.
like waits on him all that time and they put the
Yep.
spaceship and all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Seymour
like,
Butts.
what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Okay. Anyways, anything else you guys want to talk about with this episode?
Sonic
I
Tits.
got nothing.
All right, Jake, go ahead. Let's help with the closing narration. You can do it that way. I mean, we're close to the end, so fuck it. Let's do it live.
There are many bromides. Bromides?
Bromides.
Bromides. Said it right the first time. There are many bromides applicable here. Too much of a good thing. Tiger by the tail. As you sow, so shall you reap. The point is that too often man becomes clever instead of becoming wiser. He becomes inventive and not thoughtful. And sometimes, as in the case of Mr. Whipple, he can create himself right out of existence, as in tonight's tale of oddness and obsolescence in the Twilight Zone.
Yes. There you go. Cool. Twilight Zone. As a tale of oddness and adolescence. Obsolescence. I can't pronounce words tonight. Tiger by the tail. Nick by the neck.
Isn't Tiger by the tail like racist or something? I want to say, or somebody said it was.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo was kind of racist because
No, so Tiger, if you take Tiger and change it to an N.
Yeah, hard R.
Yeah. That's what it used to be.
Very
Tiger
hard.
Tiger isn't racist as far as I know, but what came previous to that, it's.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
The hardest R.
I don't know. I heard that somewhere before. I was like, how?
Yeah.
Tiger. But okay, you put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Hold on.
It's like when I start singing fuck a duck,
something else. We got to lighten that mood a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Trev, go ahead and do the usual, what you usually do.
Any ideas on where this fell with IMDb and paste?
Number 1.
Yeah, right.
15.
43 and 55.
IMDb had this at 134 and Paste had it at 109.
Holy shit.
What Paste had to say about it was the fear of automation takes over human jobs. The issue is at the forefront of the Americans' minds as the factory tech becomes more and more sophisticated is the central theme of the episode. Sterling's script follows factory owner who ditches a chunk of his workforce and replaces them with machines. Smugly happy about the decision until, of course, his position is threatened by machines. What's odd about this episode is that apart from the machine's slightly futuristic appearance, there aren't any real sci-fi, horror, or supernatural elements.
Hey, that's what I said.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, 134 or 109 is where it was by their estimates.
I was way off.
I mean, I think what makes this episode good is the conversation that we've driven, as is often the case. Like, it's the conversation that it kind of prompts that makes it a better episode.
I missed it by that much.
It's okay.
Well, now we know everybody but us is wrong. There you go.
I mean, fired. I don't think that this is a 15. It's a get smart. Holy shit, you got big feet, Jake.
There's big shoes. You know what they say about people with big feet?
Big socks.
They got big shoes.
Also true. All right, grand glorious leader.
All right, so Trev thinks this is number 1, so we'll talk about it in the
Jesus Christ.
Fifth Dimension Twilight Zone ranking list. Greatest ranking list ever known by automated robots.
Not by Robby the robot, though. He does not endorse this.
He does not, except he does. All right,
does he, though? Does he, Nick?
I don't know. I just work here. I think this is definitely above 100. That's where I'll start.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
like
kind of my thinking too.
60s, 50s, somewhere around there.
Really?
You don't think it's that high?
I like this episode, but there's a lot of other episodes I'd rather watch than this. It's a solid episode. I really enjoy it, but I know.
I think this is better than like 90 Years of Slumber Without Slumber and, Sexy Charles Bronson and
come on, Nick, let's be honest. Nothing for you is better than Sexy Charles Bronson.
What are you talking about, Pelly?
That's true. That's true.
This is Bronson, Missouri. Hey.
I think it's better than Probe 7 Over and Out.
Here comes Bronson.
Where is that?
One?
Yeah.
I know Triv hated that one, but I really like that one.
It was fine. Honestly, I wouldn't. Is the World of Difference? Is that the one? Is that the season 1 finale?
No, that's the one with the bitchy wife.
Oh, right.
The one where he goes into a different TV set or whatever show.
The Gold Digger.
Go, he's the gold digger.
I ain't saying she's a gold digger. How about 89 under Mr. Beavis?
That's what she said. No, this is better than a Much So Unusual Camera.
No.
Okay, not
it's
really.
not. It's not better than Most Unusual Camera. It's not better than The Hunt. I will say that. And that's where I will sit.
A confrontation here.
I think this is better than...
Like, it's a solid episode. I just... It has a lot to say. I just don't... There is a lot of other episodes I'd rather watch than this one. If we're coming down to it.
It's just not very Twilight Zone-y.
That's also true.
And I know that whatever it was a couple of weeks ago, we kind of dinged a bit for that. It just... it was
but
fine.
It has Twilight Zone elements at the end. I mean, robot takes over, so...
Yeah, but I kind of viewed that whole Robby the Robot thing kind of like, was it last week's episode? Where they threw this thing in at the end, which is kind of new for the Twilight Zone for me. They threw this really off-the-wall odd thing in the end that is almost just kind of like a, haha, just real quick, like a last-minute joke. I mean, I know it works into the story this week, but it's still just kind of, it's so absurd, it's just kind of like lighthearted ending, That's how I saw Robby.
I could see this going, so for me, if we're going to keep it in the 50s and 60s, I would put it above Long Distance Call.
I just started there. You guys tell me where you want to put it.
I was moving towards more like where Triv was saying, like up in the 70s, 80s. I mean, I'm not opposed to going lower, but just like on first glance, what she said, I was kind of like, yeah, that sounds about right. I mean,
what about like What about 75 or 74? So right underneath What You Need, or
That's
right
67.
Right, no, that's 74. Yeah, 74.
I wouldn't have any issues with that. I was thinking a little bit more towards like the high 60s, but I can live with like 74.
Number 5.
That's my joke, and it's number 3.
Sure.
Right.
You are number 6. I am not a number. I am a free man.
Exactly.
Number 5.
That's the prisoner. That's a different science fiction show. That's about as awesome. I love The Prisoner.
But did you love it more than one season?
It
was only on one season, so no.
I know.
Oh my God!
Didn't The Prisoner have?
It was one of those shows. It was one of those shows that was a novelty because it was broadcast in color. That's literally it.
Wasn't that Patrick McGowan or Gowan?
Patrick McGowan.
Yeah.
He was on the. He was
Patrick
on
McGowan,
wasn't he?
Mantis in color.
Mantis.
I think
remember
he
the show
was,
Mantis.
maybe.
Had the guy in a wheelchair and he had like the suit.
Wasn't that Ironside?
Ironside with William Conrad.
Yep.
Yeah, Mantis was.
There's also the Mr. No Legs.
Mantis was
Mr. No Legs is an awesome movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mantis was super 90s.
Remember Viper?
Oh, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about super 2000s.
Do you remember Forever Night? It was like the vampire that was a overnight detective.
That's funny. Though.
That sounds like a Scott Shaw movie.
Yeah, kind of. Well, it was like USA back in like the mid 90s.
Okay.
Anyway, back to this though.
Get you in color.
I don't know. Where are we gonna put this? Is this better than the Prime Mover? The Fugitive?
That's where I put it. I said 74, so right underneath What You Need.
Back there where the flowers bloom. Said back there. Whole Truth, Passage for Trumpet. I don't know.
Mantis.
Carl Lumbly. That's funny.
Yeah, man. Mantis.
But I got a mantis in my panties.
Cool as hell.
Steve James. Ooh, Steve James. I love me some Steve James.
Okay, I think we've pretty much decided. I think
yeah, 74 sounds
like. Yes. I'm still thinking.
Kurt?
Damn, Trev.
74 sounds like just a great spot.
Oh my God, Cat. Hold on a second.
Almost 69 dudes.
Yeah, exactly.
The cat farted.
Both sides benefit.
As long as it's just a fart.
Oh my God, but it's so bad to smell. Your
nose hair's burning.
Do you think this is better than God? It's hard to remember some of these episodes sometimes.
Yeah.
What was The Fugitive?
This is about a fugitive.
Thank you, Jake.
It was
The one-armed
a show.
man.
It was a show.
Exactly.
It was a show with Richard Jansen where he was the
And a
the one-armed
movie
man.
with Harrison or with what's his name?
Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
Tommy
thank
Lee
you.
Jones.
Great movie.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Harrison Ford
Where's
won the
Muscles
Oscar for that
with
movie, I
Wesley
think.
Snipes was the sequel.
No, he never won an Oscar. Well, he was
Tommy
only
Lee
nominated
Jones
for
did.
Witness. Yes,
Tommy
Tommy
Lee
Lee
Jones
Jones. I think you
did.
said
That's
Harrison
right.
Ford.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
I thought Harrison Ford did, but yeah, Tommy Lee Jones did.
Yeah. All right. So I think number 5 is good. We'll put it there.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Here's where I would put it. I would put it like below Jeopardy Room because I do think Jeopardy Room is better.
Where's Jeopardy Room? 80.
80.
So you want to put it at 81?
No, not necessarily. Maybe 82, 83, somewhere around there. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I could live with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jake, do you have any?
84 is a good number.
Jake's just waiting for skeet.
No, it's in praise of Pip, but you know what? It's okay.
Do you not like In Praise of Pip or?
No, I didn't really like it.
We could go 81.
No,
why not?
it's
Why don't we
fine,
just go
leave it to
81?
motherfucking
Make up your mind. It's almost 1 o'clock. God damn it.
Oh, suck it up, Cupcake.
There's always
I'm
gonna be
tired.
that one episode
No.
that's like, not that one, but you know what? I'm
All right, then let's just
wait.
go 81 then.
Make up your minds, you sons of bitches.
All right, 81.
Fine. 81 is fine. 81.
Oh my God.
Good. Glad we decided
the
this.
brain center at Whip Piles.
Whip piles?
It feels like Whipple's feels like it should be an ice cream place.
It probably
Yeah.
is. There probably is a place called
Tuesday.
Whipples.
Mr. Whip.
So
Tuesday
yogurt.
might be time to pay off.
I mean, there's in Zombie Nightmare, there's a place called Twist and Cream.
Twisted
That's what she
creme.
said.
Oh, creme. Yeah, that's right.
Because it has the accent. I'm sorry. I got MST on the brain.
No, that's okay. I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, it's not.
All right. So with that said, I think that'll work. So new number 81 is the brain center at Whipple's. Number 1, still Eye of the Beholder. Probably going to be there forever. Number 153 is the Invaders. I mean, the Trouble in Templeton.
Smart
Jacob's gonna
ass.
give me- anyways,
Hold
next
your
episode.
goddamn horses there, Charlie. Hold your horses. Just call me Tits. Your Sonic Tits, if you are so inclined. Number 127 is a piano in. Oh shit! Wait. Is this the right list? Okay. Number 126 is a piano in.
Sonic
No.
Tits?
No, you didn't get it right, Triv.
No, didn't I? It'd be 126, wouldn't it?
Wait, hold on. Did I? Is it right? Give me a second. Is it 125 originally? Holy shit!
not
What the
doing that
fuck
again.
is happening?
If I need to do it over, I can.
No,
No, he's like, no, it's okay.
because that means I have to listen to it again.
Yes, you
So
do.
I
Either
mess
way.
up somewhere.
Dude, we're gonna make you listen to it both ways.
Wait, what episode are we like? Oh, Jesus
Well, we're on
Christ.
153, aren't we?
I'm seeing where. Are we on 153? I'm just trying to. I think
Yeah.
I made a mistake somewhere. Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
I'm not doing.
Should we do it again then?
No, please don't.
We can do it
Okay,
again.
so next episode is season 5. Next episode is season 5, episode 34. It's called "Come Wander with Me," directed by Richard Donner, written by Anthony Wilson. Stars
Richard
Gary
Donner.
Crosby, Bonnie Beecher, and John Bolt. So we'll look forward to that. Hopefully with a host on that one, a co-host. Okay, Triv, Jacob, Kurt, awesome as always. Kurt,
Woohoo.
yeah, we just talked to you like a couple weeks ago, but where's your stuff at?
You can only find me anymore on Blue Sky. Swayze of Arabia on Blue Sky. I mostly just post either stuff like making fun of Elon Musk or whatever movies I'm watching that night, or if the Cubs win. But yeah, come follow me on there. I'm on Letterboxd. I write reviews on Letterboxd. I've written over 200 of them. I've just written a bunch of them on movies I watched on Friday night. Of an Australian musical that was like Repo. Was it
Genetic
Genetic
Opera.
Opera.
That's
Yeah.
it. Thank you. Yeah, it was Australian version of Repo and a sword and sorcery movie with Kevin Sorbo that had green subtitles that were neon green subtitles that were not wrong, that were consistently wrong. Trev can attest to how funny it was. And Merlin's Mystical Shop of Wonders, which is on the last season of the last sci-fi season of Mystery Science Theater. We watched that Friday night. Did I write anything? I don't think I've written any like good reviews recently. I don't know. I did write something. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I wrote something good recently about a good movie recently. So I do write about good movies, bad movies. Every Halloween I do a 31 Days of Horror, or every October I do 31 Days of Horror, and I rank them all. And this year it's going to be all bangers, all the stuff I love, because it'll be 5 years I've been doing it. And so if you're interested in that stuff, follow me on Letterboxd. I think it's Swayze of Arabia on Letterboxd. It's linked on my Blue Sky. Yeah, that's my pluggables, because I don't really have that much of social media presence that much anymore.
Probably a good thing. We all need less social media presence. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I've been doing enough doom scrolling on Reddit as it is.
All right, Jake, what you got?
Sonic tits. No. Yeah. I'm on YouTube. Go there.
Glad.
To my channels. I've got all kinds of good stuff. And man, by the time this fucking episode comes out, probably gonna have more stuff. Maybe, possibly.
Hooray.
Maybe not. Probably not, but you never know. Maybe. Who knows? Go subscribe. Because if I do put something out, you want to know about it. And if you don't subscribe and smash the bell or dong the bell or whatever, you don't know. So subscribe, and all those, but just click all the buttons, all of them.
Punch them all. Just
don't click the one where you like report me, but click all the other ones. And when I do release something, you'll know. It could be tomorrow. Could be next year.
Could be today.
Could
have
be
been
yesterday.
done already.
Exactly.
Could be. Who knows? Because I'm a fucking wild card.
Absolutely.
All right, Trey, what you got?
I mean, nothing terribly new. I did just a real short thing on the companion a while back, Vegas in Space, and then I just most recently did Slay. By the time this drops, I probably will have other new stuff. Keep an eye out there. Also, number 126 is a piano in
the house.
That's it. Podcast is canceled.
Yes, exactly. 2 episodes before the end.
Nick, where can people find your amazing stuff?
Yeah,
nowhere and everywhere. I've quit the podcast.
At your local Kmart.
Exactly. I'm in a Spirit Hollywood or Spirit Halloween.
Hooray!
No, at this point, I have just posted or will soon be posting the penultimate episode of season 2 of Severance. I think I've done stuff like Novocaine. I think we'll see what happens. We're getting close to everybody's favorite upcoming movie, Snow White. So we'll look forward to that one. There's not really, to be fairly honest, there's not really much coming out soon that is like not TV. So movie reviews are kind of light, to be fairly honest. Like, there's just not a lot of stuff. I think I reviewed like some nonsense called Cleaner as we're recording this, which was horrible. But yeah, just Severance. I'll be almost finished with that at this point. So look forward to that. So anyways, Kurt, we'll see you at the end when we do our wrap up. But thank you for attending. We'll have you on for future whatever we do next. So as always, I thank you for filling in and doing all that good stuff. So we'll look forward.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
This has been a lot of the couple episodes I've been on have been a lot of fun, and happy to help you guys out, and
the next episode that is a episode will be in color, or we might be doing that Night Gallery. I don't know at this point.
Night Gallery would be fun.
Yeah. So anyways, we're gonna head out. We're gonna go into the Twilight Zone. We're gonna see you next week for Come Wonder with me, and for myself, Trib, Jacob, and Kurt. We'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, motherfucker.
I have come here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Hooray!
You're all kicking ass. You got plenty of bubble gum.
I gotta get that movie. Yeah, get a copy. I need to get a copy of They Live. I love that movie.
It is a good one.
Amazing. He has one of the best back alley brawls ever.
15 minutes long or whatever it is.
Yep. And it's the best parody of South Park with Jimmy and Timmy in the cripple fight.